Integrative Medical Discussion Group. My name is Deb Davies, and I'm the Director of Alumni Services and Career Services here at the college. And I'm very pleased to announce my fabulous panel tonight, where the topic is sexuality and health. It's healthy sexuality with yourself and with others. So before I introduce our amazing panelists, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the meeting. And this started 6 years ago. I was attending a group called HiMed at UCSD, and I kept going to their meetings where they had Eastern and Western. It was more of the students, and we had 40 acupuncturists show up at this doctor's house one time, and they said to me, "Deb, you need to start your own group." So I did, and it's really nice to see the growth here that's occurred over the last few years. So we're just going to run through. Each panelist is going to have about 10 minutes to talk about themselves and the topic, and then we're going to open the floor for question and answer. How we usually do it is that if you have a question, that you would please write it on 3x5 cards. We put them on every chair, and then if you want to just bring your questions up front, I will select the questions and the evening will flow very smoothly. So we did put a couple articles on the chair from some of our panelists, so that's what you're sitting on probably, if you want to look through any of those or take those home. The purpose of the Integrative Medical Discussion Group is to integrate Eastern and Western medical students and professionals, and it's open to the public as well. Our goal is to help educate. The Latin word for doctor comes from the Latin word docere, which means to teach. And as a licensed acupuncturist, I feel it's important not only to teach patients, but to teach other clinicians, other practitioners, our patients, educate them about options in their healthcare. So just a couple of guidelines tonight. If you could please speak in a language where we can all understand. If anybody doesn't understand something, please raise your hand and we'll make sure. So sometimes the acupuncturists get into Qi and Zong Fu and people's eyes roll over. So we want to make sure everyone understands. And then, like I said, we have a large group, so being mindful if you are speaking. Each panelist is going to have 10 minutes. So I'm going to ring my little Chinese bells at 9 minutes, and then again at 10, so that can politely tell you it's time for the next person. And usually it flows really well. So I just want to do a quick poll. How many students do we have in the audience? Wow. And any medical students? Okay. Well, Eastern medical, so mostly PCOM. Okay. And then how many acupuncturists or Eastern medical practitioners? Okay. And any MDs, PhDs? Wonderful. All right. And others? That is wonderful. Just so everybody gets an idea about who's in the room with you tonight. So without further ado, I'm just going to announce very briefly who we have on the panel, and then I'll turn it over to Bob. So first we have Bob Damone. He's our academic dean, licensed acupuncturist, published author. He wrote a book called Principles of Chinese Medical Andrology. Next, we have Dr. Warren Jacobs. Dr. Warren has been practicing medicine for many, many years, and I am very pleased to finally have you on our panel tonight. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Dr. Shannon Fowle. Shannon is a naturopathic doctor, and she's next to Valerie Gersh, who's also a naturopathic doctor. So we get two ND opinions tonight. And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Barbara Cox, who's a holistic psychologist and a good friend of mine. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bob Damone. All right, thank you guys.
First time on this panel. Should I stand? Yes, you should. Okay, so I have 10 minutes to talk about one slice of this very big subject. I became interested in the use of Chinese medicine for male problems or andrological health, several years ago, probably about 10 years ago. Eventually, that led me to some clinical work on the subject while I was practicing, which I'm not currently practicing. and also led me to translating a lot of material from Chinese into English, and that's what culminated in my work of love principles of Chinese medical andrology, an integrated approach to male reproductive and urological health. I forget the title sometimes. Several years worth of writing and work and reporting on clinical work, but one of the things that I really enjoy about it is that subject. I don't know how many of you know this, but within Chinese medicine there are several specialties, just like you would find in Western medicine. And there's been a division of specialties for centuries within Chinese medicine. The specialty of andrology, or what is called nan-ke in Chinese medicine, is relatively new, probably developing over the last 30, 40 years or so. And these are essentially dually trained doctors who are trained in traditional Chinese medicine as well as in modern allopathic medicine. And so they've been doing integrative medicine in China for decades in ways that really impressed me in 1988 when I first went over there to study, and still impresses me today when I read and travel and study there. So in any case, I enjoyed looking at male reproductive and urological health from a Chinese medical perspective and seeing the overlaps with modern bioscience and what we know in terms of modern urology. And I just want to play a very quick, literally 30-second video and then I want to talk about that. So could somebody hit the lights? Okay. And this might be familiar to some. Here it goes.
So what'd you have for dinner? A pan of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn and pudding. You? A sliver of trout, spritz with lemon, and baby carrots!
Shoulda had Hungry Man from Swanson. A whole pound of the good hearty food that men love.
Thank you, that's the performance. But I wanted to show that because in my work with andrology and Chinese medicine, I can really point attention to that, because the myths that Western men are subjected to, that in order to be powerful and sexually virile and sexually potent, that one needs to eat like that, and that one needs to be large and burly and all of these things. That's a very destructive belief, which has been leading and is leading to a lot of male sexual dysfunction, also female sexual dysfunction, that same diet. But in Chinese medicine, the concept of erection, or the experience of an erection, is essentially one of free flow of qi and blood and fluids into the penis, and a maintenance of that free flow within the penis. A diet such as this, such as a Hungry Man diet, which is fried chicken and mashed potatoes with gravy and corn with butter, and this whole kind of way of approaching, is a surefire way to accumulate what we would call phlegm and blood stasis in the body. It leads to erectile dysfunction, at a relatively young age, at a very high, significant percentage of males. Okay, and so the myth, it's completely the opposite. Excuse me, because again, what many men think and what this culture thinks is going to lead to virility actually leads to obstruction of blood and inability to either get or maintain an erection. And we see this commonly in heart disease, cardiovascular diseases of all sorts, diabetes. These are very common causes of male sexual dysfunction, especially erectile dysfunction, or previously known as impotence. So, I mean, really, that's I just wanted to show that video because it always struck me when I saw that commercial how wrong the whole concept is. And really, it's plumbing. Okay? It's about plumbing. A lot of modern diseases, in my opinion, especially cardiovascular diseases and the associated, and I'm talking a lot about men tonight, but a lot of these same diseases affect women because the clitoris is also an erectile organ. And so if you obstruct the flow of blood to and from the clitoris, you're also going to interfere with female sexual function. Okay? So it's not very complicated. It's actually quite simple. It's plumbing. Are the blood vessels open, and is there a free flow? Are the valves functioning normally, etc.? It's plumbing. In Chinese medicine, it's channels, it's meridians, however you want to translate it, but it's the same concept. Keep the diet clean, keep free flow through the body, through all the tissues, and we have a much greater chance of maintaining normal sexual and reproductive function. I've mentioned so far only sexual, but of course also reproductive function. Infertility, one of the more common scenarios in infertility, male and female infertility in modern Western societies, is also a case of blockage and obstruction in terms of Chinese medicine, as opposed to insufficient nourishment. Okay, I mean, this is sort of basic way that Chinese medicine looks at diseases, differentiating them into two very, very broad types: insufficiency, lack of nourishment, versus obstructive diseases. Okay, and so again, that kind of diet mostly leads to obstruction, phlegm, blood stasis, etc. So if I could leave you with one thought in 10 minutes tonight, that would be, I think, the core central issue for us as people, sexual people ourselves, hoping to hopefully enjoy our sexuality into our old age, and also as healers and practitioners looking to help our patients.
Thank you.